Right. Welcome everyone to this Roundtable International University Talk Show. And the theme we're discussing today is growth. As we all know, growth is actually vital and critical to the long-term survival of Roundtable. And we're not just talking about quick, short-term growth and chasing the numbers. This is actually much more looking a little bit deeper. Now, we all know that growth has actually come or driven from a table level, because that's where we induct people. There's no association that directly goes and inducts people, and neither can RTI really go and induct anyone. Growth is driven by tables. But as we all know, there's also a lot of assistance that can be given to tables and to tablers to actually help with this growth. And that really is the essence of what we're talking about today. We're pleased to announce that we have got a couple of panelists here with us, a number of the guys that are renowned experts. Firstly, we have got from the Netherlands, Mr. Joost van Velzen, who's been on the expansion committee for 6 years now. He's also done a brilliant expansion presentation during the recent CE meeting. Thomas Spicher from Switzerland, who is a past president, has also got an extensive track record on growth. And what's good is he's going to put a lot of his ideas into action, as he's the incoming SEM chairman for the 24-25 year. Lastly, we've got Mr. Rahul Agrawal from Nepal, who's our ASPER chairman-elect. And anyone who knows anything about Roundtable would know that Nepal has actually had a stunning journey over the last couple of years when it comes to growth, virtually actually doubling their growth over the last number of years. And very, very few associations can actually go and say that. We are live on Facebook, and we say hello to everyone either watching live or following along later on. For anyone watching live, please feel free to engage with us on Facebook so that you can ask your questions. We put it to the panel, and we actually help you get answers to questions that you have right now. With that, I'm going to hand over to Joost, who's going to share some of his ideas.
Yes, all right. Good afternoon. I'm Joost van Velzen from the Netherlands, Roundtable of Vlaardingen, near Rotterdam City. I'm for 6 years part of the expansion committee. My experience is where I want to talk about is finding clubs that are going lower and lower in numbers, and how to help them and how to find the right way of working together. Because a local club is always in control of their own future, but also their own legacy. And it's the right way to give them the right tools to find new tablers and make it easier for themselves. So that's where I want to talk about. And of course, I use Tabler World as my database.
Thank you, Joost. Joost, you mentioned Tabler World. How do you actually go and use Tabler World to achieve all that you want to achieve when it comes to growth?
Well, that's one I want to share with you with my presentation. Is it working? I'm trying to share my, yes, here it is.
Yes.
Yes, here it's go. Yeah, you can see it right here. Yes, you can see it?
Yes, we can.
All right, that's great. Five it to make it much bigger. Yes, so you go to Tabler World. Every country has the same procedures, same way of leveling. And if you go lower and lower, you can go to your local clubs. Once you're in the local club, that's where you can find how many members you currently have and are having for the next few years. On the board level, you can also do this by looking at your prognose, we call it, statistiek in the Dutch. And there you can find out which clubs are having which members for the next years. So for instance, we have here Roundtable Utrecht, number 1. The area, the members they have now, 16. The members they have in the next year, 13. And the members they have in 25-26 are 11. That's very interesting, because now you can also see that Leeuwarden, number 2, is going from 15 to 12 to 9. The only question we then have is Roundtable Leeuwarden know that they have a problem in 2 or 3 years. Are they working on finding new tablers? Question number 1. I just make an automated email next with Benkin. We want to do this for 4 times a year, just to know that local clubs can be helped, and we can help them by finding the area chairman for them if they're already in contact, and then give them the right tools. with the document with tips and tricks. One of those tips and tricks I learned from Malta is using AllTablers for finding new tables. But also Roundtable United Kingdom, RTBI, they used Facebook groups on local level and a good program just to inform people that they're having an open night and you can just visit them. And those ways are very easy for local clubs to find new tablers. And then they can grow on normal way and being their own table. So that's one of the tricks we use to find the right way of working together, because it doesn't feel right if the top level boards are telling the lower clubs what to do, because the local clubs can tell themselves what to do because they're their own club. So that's the first sheet I want to share. The second one is we already got the document with a lot of information you always can read if you have the time. But if you don't have the time, it's very good just to pick up the phone and call your chairman, like, I need some tips. What do you got? We also got those emails ready. So it's a very easy way to inform local clubs what the tips and tricks are for finding and attracting new players. So
Now,
what are we?
you sorry, just on that previous sheet,
Yes.
this document, this is what you guys have developed as part of the Netherlands.
Yes, and we do this with the CE board. So a lot of German tips and tricks already got into. At the end of the month, I will send another email to all the national boards in our area for more tips and tricks if they have them. And so we can grow the document on CE level to RTI level. And we want to do that during the summer when we have all new boards together. Everybody has a new function, I guess. And then we can split the information and help each other out, making one big document. And that was the slide. Yes.
Okay, and then I'm sure that this is actually the perfect time would then be in the World meeting in Maastricht, probably to have a little bit of a workshop or something just to work through all of this.
Yes.
Followed then by hopefully an extensive insert in Legacy magazine, where all of the tips and tricks and learnings from
Of course.
Netherlands, Germany, CE, and actually worldwide can then actually be put in as a guide to all tablers.
Yes, it's the easiest way, because once new tablers are coming in with new ideas, we just can add them, and then over the whole world we have the same document.
Perfect.
So that was the idea, and how to do that, because that's also typically Dutch. It should be practical. So during the CE, I ask a lot of guys from, hey, what's going on? Could you help me? Then the second one is translated in other languages, because the language of your mother tongue is the easiest way to tell another. And then we want to donate it to the RTI board and just adopt and prove the document till we have enough tablers for every local club. And then we can use this information also to make a podcast about it or make YouTube movies like we are currently doing now, just to share the information. So that's my point of view, my holy grail, my mission for this year, just to do it right.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, your goal would be to actually get this document live and in the hands of tablers in mass on a market in the next 6 months at the latest.
Yes.
Right. Some practical hints and tips that maybe you can share with us now already, for guys that already want to start getting into the growth spirit.
Yeah, of course. The experience after 2 years of testing with Benkin, I also have to mention him because we did it together, was that we started the year of 2021 with 35 tables with less than 10 people. And currently we have now around 10 tables with less than 10 people. So there are 15 tables capable of finding new people with the tips and tricks we shared with them. So that was just telling them what the tips and tricks are, how to contact, but also give them new ideas. And one of those ideas is placing in our magazine Tabler Wanted with their logo and the name. So we're looking for tablers in Pijnack and Noodorp. If you know somebody, please let us know. And then people just send in the digital form, and we added like 10 new names for the local club. And then the local club has the opportunity to contact those people and ask them if they're still interested and if they want to join an evening or not. It's always on the local club to make the right decision. It's not to us. We just inform them that's possible.
And this is very similar to the prospect management system in Tabler World that RTI actually has on a global level, where you can actually go and suggest people to come to table. If you're a tabler, you can actually do it as part of prospect management. And I know that for non-tablers, you can actually refer a potential tabler on through various websites. I know the RTI has got
Correct.
one. I know some association websites have also got something like this. And then,
Yes,
as you say, it is up to the local club to then actually take that next step and just to explore that a bit further.
correct. I think that's the right way, because the local club is also the club that can depend. Then they make the decision what their DNA is and what they want to do and what kind of community they want to be, and it's up to them to find the right people with the right click. You cannot just add 5 new guys and then say now you're a table with 10 guys. That doesn't work. That should be a click with all the guys. There should be the right spirit, the right flow, and that's the biggest point.
Right. Thank you, Joost. I think it's time to move on. Thomas, you've got some extensive experience as well, specifically on utilizing social media, how to position yourselves in the market correctly, how national boards can use this service. Don't you want to share some of the knowledge and insights that you have with us?
Yes, of course. Thomas, my name. For the ones who don't know me, now I'm past president of Roundtable Switzerland. So I've gone through a lot of stuff the last past years in Switzerland. When I started in the national board, we kind of had some problems in Switzerland. So we saw that growth was a huge problem in Switzerland after COVID. We were still stable, so we were talking in the national board, how can we improve in Switzerland that we are starting to grow again? And of course, like Joost also said, that has to happen at the floor level. So each club has to grow on itself so that Roundtable Switzerland can grow again. And what we just saw then was we had a really poor homepage. We didn't really have social media accounts that were used so far. So of course, if we talk with guys who didn't know Roundtable, you didn't have anything to show them and say, yeah, just go to the webpage, just go to our Instagram page or Facebook. So what we started some years ago was completely new branding of Roundtable Switzerland. What we have done the last past years. So I would say that what about the rebranding was, of course, a new homepage, new social media pages on Facebook, on Instagram. We had to put much more information on it, and yeah, that's something we slowly arrived now until the last AGM 2 weeks ago. We are, let's say, now on a really good base level for that, and we still continue to work on this. So what Kenny, our now past president, introduced in his year was the National Board as a Service program. So because we were talking, why do Roundtable Switzerland needs a national board? What is the purpose of the national board? It's not only to organize everything on a national level, but it is also to give something back to the local tables. So via the homepage, via Facebook, Instagram, and stuff like this. And so we started to say, okay, we will try to induct in our homepage that every local club can have like a sub-page with the same design, everything for free. We can rebrand your local club rondel if you want to, also for free, of course. We will be in charge of that. So just that we have in Switzerland, in the end, that was at least the idea. If you see Roundtable Bern, if you see Roundtable Zurich or Roundtable Lucerne, you have the same logo, the same rondel, but you have just the inner part that changed a little bit, the colors change, but you have Roundtable Switzerland as one unit, not only like every club for itself. Yeah, that was the main idea of how can we help the local table. And of course, we've done the same, like Joost told. We were really on Table World, so we were pushing Table World as hard as possible to get all the information from each club via Tabler World also on our web page. So the main idea is to link Tabler World and the homepage together, so that all informations that we change on Tabler World will be shown also on the web page. So you don't have to change all our information on 2 different platforms. So that's a little bit what we were working on the last years. And also one thing, I think that was originally came, I'm not sure from international level, but it was the Proposer Prospect. You know that?
Yeah, Proposer Prospect. To a large extent, I think Roundtable Norway started with that a number of years ago. And this obviously caught like wildfire through many other associations. It was probably done in some way or some form or another by other associations as well before Norway did it. But I mean, they were really the first ones to really come and structure and explain it in a good way for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. That's also one thing we I think since last year we have on our Tabler World page. So you have to know in Switzerland it's a little bit difficult because we have 3 national languages. We have 3 different parts in Switzerland. They're not always really good connected together. Normally, also because of the different languages. We as Roundtable try, of course, to connect all the tables in the different regions, and it works quite well so far. And the Proposer Prospect for us in Switzerland is really important because you have a lot of people, they live in one city, but they work in a completely other city. So, for example, we have people that are living in Zurich, but they work in Lucerne. So they probably know a lot of good possible tablers in Lucerne, so they can fill out the form with the people together, and then the Roundtable Lucerne gets all information, and then they can invite the new prospect and see how it's going.
You guys in Switzerland, do you reward something like this? Because it's something that we've actually had extensive discussions on the board in the past. Maybe reward someone if you can put in as much as possible or as many as possible, but still high quality guys into the system. Because the system would only be as good as the amount of good quality leads and contacts that you have in there. How do you guys actually go and inspire people or ask them to put in some names in the system?
Yeah, so the thing is, it's quite new that we have this form on Tabler World. So we just talked also at our last AGM, we talked about it, and we tried to get the people used to it. That's, I think that the biggest problem we have, that you have to motivate a guy to give a tabler to another table, and that's one of the main problems I think we have, and that it's just the mindset that we have to change a little bit, because we are one big family. You're not only your local club, you have other clubs around you, and they also have to get stronger. If they don't get stronger, we will also have a problem in our whole region and in our whole association. So at the moment, we're still at the beginning of this process, I think. So we don't have the data so far to say if it works or not. I think it will. We will see that in 1 year's time.
I'll come back to you now. I just want to ask Joost another question and follow up, because Joost, I know you guys are doing something very similar in the Netherlands. Obviously, as Thomas now explained, we need to look at growth from a big picture point of view. It's not just growing my table. It actually goes much wider than that. It's growing our association or our area, but it's actually growing table worldwide.
Yes.
And I mean, this Proposer project is so easy to go and cross borders as well. That if you know someone worthy, or someone who might be a good tabler, it's very easy. I think especially in Europe, but with other countries as well. Especially with migration of people, it's very easy to actually go and suggest them or put them on something like this. How do you guys reward people somehow, or how do you guys actually drive the engagement or drive people to go and input these details online?
Well, it's the funny part is that there's always a tabler going old tabler, and there's always a dad who's having a son. And one of those things then happen is that they send an email by Proposer Prospect, and then stuff happens. So we monetize this information. We got around 120 new tablers by the forums every year. And when we got an email with the forum with the new potential tabler. Then we send it to the right club. The right club can then decide it's something for them or not. If not, then we send it to another table in that same area. And of course, the Dutch is just 2.5 hour drive in your other country. But we've got a lot of locations where we see that there are more than 60,000 people are living. And then we say that could be an interesting area for tabling. So today we're still making new tables because we're just looking at potential. And if you take a place like Amsterdam, they're having 5 tables, but they have enough people to have 10 tables. The question you have to ask yourself is, do we go for quality tables, so tables with 10, 20 and more members, or do you want to have local smaller clubs with every year the same problem if they drop down with less than 10 tables? But that's something that really is something when a tabler is going from one club to another. We call it parachuting. It's never a problem, but if you want to start a table, you really need that energy and you need a mother table. So it's always a table near the area that can help them. And then we see that 1 or 2 guys are very enthusiastic about having a new table, then we will just start. And in 12 months, we have a new table.
Joost, I actually want to explore this part a little bit more. So
Okay.
basically, if I understand correctly, you guys almost take a map of the Netherlands,
Yes.
and then you actually plot where you have tables now, and then you actually have it demographics, or you actually have a look at, but where are there cities with, let's say, too few tables, or there's towns or villages or whatever with no tables in there. How do you then actually start that process? And you just mentioned 12 months, it might be a bit longer. How do you actually start the process by saying, you know what, here's a new city or a new potential place that we're currently not operating in, that we've identified? How do you guys actually then get to the process of chartering that healthy and sustainable table?
Well, that's a good question. To be real honest, normally guys just change houses and go to places, and in that place they don't have a table. So then they ask us, I'm a tabler, I want to start a table. And then we said, yeah, there's a lot of potential. We got some leads, and then we just start. It's that easy. But if you ask me, can you start a table in a place where you don't know anybody? That's very hard work. And then you really have to think about it.
Okay.
If you want
So
to do
it's
that,
just-
because you don't do that in 12 months.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's effectively guys moving around. But I mean, that's something that we would see worldwide, is people moving around inside their own country or even outside their countries. And as you say, is that yearning of being part of a table. Once you've got 1 or 2 guys there, then you can actually start spreading the news.
Yes.
Right. Thomas, just back to you. You mentioned social media a little bit earlier. Do you guys have any specific strategies on who to target, how to target, and then specifically younger tablers, the Gen Zs, as we know? What strategies are you guys using to actually engage with these younger tablers?
That's a really good question. So if we would have an answer to this question, we probably wouldn't talk today. Yes, we don't have like we don't have the solution at the moment. But what we started is we said we have to be really active on Facebook and on Instagram for the moment. We are active on LinkedIn also. And I think the next step would be to check if we go to other platforms too. But it's hard. So what we try to do this year, so we have a new PRO who is really active on social media. That's why we tried to get him into the national board, and he makes amazing videos. He makes amazing stuff. He's 34 years old, and of course, you say it would be better probably to have a much younger guy, but on the other hand, it's hard to find such young guys who are willing to be part of a national board. So the strategy, let's say, is of course the PRO needs to have information to put anything on social media, on the webpage and stuff like this. And for that, we try also always to push not only the vice president or the IRO, also the PRO to travel, to go around, to go to local meetings, to go to meetings inside of Switzerland, of course, to make more, let's say, more photos videos or stuff like this from inside Switzerland, and then he needs just the information from the IRO also to put other stuff on Facebook and Instagram.
Thank you very much. Time to move over. Mr. Rahul Agrawal, good friend from Nepal. Now, as we all know, that Nepal has had tremendous sustainable growth over the last number of years. What have you guys done from a national board side, from a Nepal side, to actually, I think, more than double your numbers in the last 10 years?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's so nice to be here. It's a very good question as to what we have done over the past few years as part of the national board. I think we've handheld clubs, we've spoken to them, got their views, and we came to a conclusion that if we go naturally, I think that is the healthiest growth that we expect. We're not looking at too big the numbers because we are at a very at 550 around 550 members, and these 550 members we have systems and processes in place. These 550 members are running the association very well for now. And now what we want to do is we want to sustain it. So we want to grow clubs naturally, whereby they search for like-minded people and bring them in their club, make them part of it, grow every club by 2 to 3 members every year. Once that happens, it is a very calm and a natural process where there is very little conflict, and people who are inspired by our work join themselves, and that makes a lot of sense. Most times, if you look at this growth, these people who come naturally to clubs are the biggest contributors in those clubs. If you look at the last table of the year in Roundtable Nepal, it was only his second year in tabling in Nepal, and he won the best table of the year. Because they've joined on their own and they see a lot of value. And that is where I think our association has been very successful in creating that value for a young tabler. Also, our programs. I just heard you mentioning about Gen Z. Now, in Roundtable, over the past few years, we've looked at a lot of fellowships that are taking place across the country. And we've introduced fellowship that inspires the Gen Z. We have a sports meet, we call it Zest. And people who are into sports, they kind of connect with the fact that there's an association which looks at networking, which looks at projects, which looks at fellowships, fundraisers, but also does sports. Sports is a big attraction for Gen Z these days. Then we have an hiking event where it is an out-and-out hiking event. People see that, yes, tablers who are young are indulging themselves into something that is of interest to them. So I think if we want to put it in a nutshell, that we have a program for everyone now, whereby their interest is taken care of, and we want to expand this bouquet further. We want to add a few more events which attracts a lot of younger ones, and that is how Gen Z also comes into place. And we have a very healthy mix of old tablers, absolutely tablers who've been there for 5-6 years, and younger ones who've been there for a couple of years. They gel well, and I think we're performing quite well, and this has worked very well for us in terms of growth.
Now, Rahul, I know one of the things that you guys are very wary about is any panic-driven growth or just targeting the numbers or anything like that. How do you guys ensure that the growth that does happen is, as you mentioned, it's organic, it's actually high-quality growth?
First, Graham, we kind of wanted to define what quality is. So we had a very healthy discussion amongst ourselves. We spoke to a lot of tables, clubs, amongst the national board, amongst the NEX council, and we figured out anybody who contributes to the association is quality. That was one single benchmark that we kept. Then in terms of the negativity that comes when we are trying to put in people forcefully, or trying to make an effort that somebody joins a certain club, or try to achieve growth whereby we want to put a club at 20, 25 members. What happens is those people do not have a natural incline towards tabling, and they lose connect very quickly. A club last year, we wanted to induct a lot of members there. We thought they're losing a lot of members. We put up a prospect meet. In the prospect week, we found a few tablers who were interested, a few prospects who were interested. We put them in that table. That table almost died because it was not natural. They could not gel together. Their interests were different. So we then became very wary of trying to put in people into clubs. There was another club which was almost on the verge of closing down, but then they grew their table by 2 members last year. They have another 3 being added this year. I think by the next 2 years, that club will be up and running. That club boasted of a lot of past presidents of Roundtable Nepal, and we are happy that we've changed course, and we do not want to go that path where we try and force people to induct newer members.
Rahul, one of the things you said right in the beginning was having a well-defined identity is actually key. Because I mean, without that, it's actually impossible to show the value proposition that we have and the table actually has to participants. And I think that's something that, at least the times that I've been in Nepal, it's been very clear. You mentioned that this was an open and frank and a difficult discussion. What tips can you maybe have for other associations, areas, or just others wanting to go through that same process?
I think one thing we need to make very clear to everyone that growth is as important as project is, as important as fellowship is, as important as LAPD is, as important as fundraisers are. Because if we do not talk about growth every day, as in every business meeting, a session has to be on growth, as to whom are we talking to, whom are we looking at, will they be willing to join, what is it that we are offering, will they suit how our requirements are. So one simple tip that I would like to give everyone listening, and to the most associations who are experiencing depletion in numbers, is that growth has to be spoken about not in 6 months, not when you are going down. Growth has to be spoken about even when things are going well. Suppose I have 20 members in my club. I do not have too much of an intention to grow further, but still I should be talking to newer guys. You do not know which tabler might have to leave the club. You do not know what is going to come forth. But if you are already talking to prospects, already talking to potential members, what happens is when you're at a dearth, you can ask them to join. So it has to come. It has this process of growth that we speak at meetings, at most of our NEXs, at half-year meetings, at the AGMs, has to happen on a daily basis. We need to keep talking about it. Once we keep talking about it and give it as much importance as we give projects in our part of the world, then things will fall in place. I think that is the only tip that I can think of right now.
Rahul, thank you very much. Now, we've had some good interaction on Facebook with lots of comments coming through. One of the comments specifically is from immediate past president from RTBI, Mr. Christopher Bush. He said that they found in the UK, targeting media, this could be social media or other media, towards the wives and partners of men in their demographic actually works quite well. They focused on strong programs. This would be, as Rahul now mentioned, things that men actually like doing together, and incentivizing these young men to actually have something fun to take part in. And that actually showcases what Value Roundtable can have in their busy lives. Then obviously, I think as Joost also mentioned, once you've now got the leads there, then it's up to the active team of membership committee to actually follow up and onboard these members properly. Any of you guys with maybe a comment on what Chris has shared there with us?
I think Chris has a really good opinion, because the main reason they were growing, that the guys told me during the CE meeting, was that they found local clubs not finding the right people, but on Facebook they found the right people because they're already a community. And just being there with a post like, we have a free night off and we're going to do something fun. Just drinking beer is easy, but if you say we go laser game or karting or skydiving, then some people will do more for you than just drinking those beers. And I think really the program is 50% of keeping people loyal to your club. Because after 2 years, you don't have a good program, they're done. They have seen it, they've done it, and they go away. But you have to want to keep them in place in your club and being your ambassador to finding new people.
Yeah.
Like we are ambassadors of our clubs. And social media is one part of that.
Speaking about social media, what and I know Thomas has actually gone and explored social media a bit. Is there any other strategies or innovative social media ideas that's actually worked in either your association or that you guys knows that work in other associations?
In our case, no, in the last few years, in Roundtable Nepal, there's been a lot of traveling. We've traveled to the HYMs, we've traveled to the world meetings, to regional meetings, to other associations, AGMs. What that has transpired is, when these tablers travel, they put a lot of social media photos. That gives out a very good message to anyone looking that there is a lot of traveling, and these people are traveling a lot. The quality of traveling obviously shows, because you kind of put those happy pictures, a group of pictures, you put in a lot of tourist places. So this is also another way where a lot of tablers have been inspired in our association to join tabling, because they see a lot of people traveling around, and that has put up a very positive impact on how people perceive us.
Right. Then mentorship is vital to actually getting new members in. And it's a mistake that I see often being made is we get a new prospect in, he goes through a process, and now finally he's a tabler. How important is the mentorship that actually starts after he's inducted, to actually make sure that he stays until his career ends at whatever the exit age is in the different associations? Yes, Thomas.
I think it's really important. It's one of the most important things. I can just talk about it on my club level, because it's where it starts, is the club level. When we introduce new members in our club, we define one person who is going to help this guy at least 1 year to get into this whole Roundtable family. Because it's not only the local club and the social projects you're doing, it's also the regional area, the national area, and the international area you have to discover. And I think it's essential that as a new tabler, have at least one person at your side where you all the time can go there and ask him, hey, what should I do? Why is it going like this? Did I something wrong or not? Yeah, you just like to have a person next to you. For me, it's essential.
Thank you, Thomas. Then, interesting question. We've now all seen, or we've heard a couple of very good ideas on how to grow table and what we should do for growth. What do you guys think are some of the pitfalls that others, tables associations get wrong when it comes to driving for growth? I.e., where do they kind of miss the point?
I really believe that people do their best to be a vital club. I don't believe that people are entering the club to destroy it. So a lot of not knowing is maybe the biggest problem. And when you educate them by your own Tabler World database, then you know upfront for now till the next 3 years what's going to happen. So then the question is, what is the national board doing to help those local clubs? that they got Tableau World, they got all the information, tips and tricks. They have an area chairman who knows what's happening in the club, and they've got all the contact details. So the only question for me is, why isn't there any visitation going on or having telephones with those guys to help them out? Just make the visit, make it personal. We're not an IP address, we're people. So people talk to people. That's how you do your job, but also how you make it personal. To make it your personal mission to help them finding those tables and give them the tools they need. And then it will go. And if they just don't want to do it, then it was already a table that wasn't that active on national level. They're paying, but still complaining. So there are more issues than, I guess, under the water that we can see. We only can see the numbers. So that's also one of the things I want to point out, that some clubs have more problems than we know. But once you're entering the club and you know those people better and better, then you really can help them for the long term.
Okay. Thank you. Guys, we are nearing the end of the show, so I'm going to ask each of you maybe just for some closing thoughts on your side. I think let's start with Rahul. Rahul, any other closing thoughts that you have for everyone on growth and membership?
I'll share a best practice with you, with everyone. Right? We have inductions in our association only in national meetings. So we have 4 NEX meetings that we have every year, and a national AGM. What happens there is, when a young tabler comes to a national meeting where you have an attendance of more than 100 members, or say around 75 to 100 members, that would be more precise. In that, when he experiences and meets a lot of lot of people who are mentors in tabling, and a lot of others who he can gel with, I think that that brings out a lot of a very good impact on him. And his sustainability as a member, his idea of doing things, he comes to know what is happening on the day-to-day basis in a table, and that is where it has a very good impact in our association. A tabler who comes and gets inducted in a national meeting and meets so many people leaves a lasting impact on him, and he looks forward to meeting more people next time, and he kind of get to know how this association functions. We have another good practice. We do a LAPD module for all the young members that are getting inducted on that day. So on the day of the NEX, we have a Proud Tabler module that we do, where we tell them about how a table functions, what are the rules, how the bank accounts function, everything. And that is also helping us a lot. So I think in my closing remark, I would only say that if you do not take stress about growth and make it a habit, the problem that Roundtable International thinks that we are facing, I don't see it as a problem. I see it as an opportunity. Will get solved very soon, and we'll be having a lot of good new energetic members.
Rahul, thank you very much. Then Thomas, your closing thoughts on growth and membership.
Yes, it's a really good question. So I think what we have to do, we have to take the new tablers by the hand and show them what Roundtable is. What we do in Switzerland is every new tabler that was inducted between the last AGM and the next one will get invited by the National Board for free to the AGM. So we try to bring them to our national AGM to show them that that's more than just their local club, there are other clubs around. That's the thing. So what I can say to every show tabler out there, go to your club meetings, but go visiting other clubs in your region, and then go also to your national AGM. That's where the really funny and interesting parts happens. And if you're traveling national wise, you can also go international and try to do that in your first year as a tabler, because it will inspire you for doing more, and it will be really, really interesting for you. And then start to take everyone you know, everyone you think he could fit as a tabler, take him to your local club, take him to a meeting, because nothing can get wrong. If it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit, so it's nothing bad. But if you're lucky, you will find some new tablers and they will join you.
Perfect, thank you very much. Lastly, Joost, your closing thoughts on growth and membership.
Yes, like Thomas and Roel already said, I'm thinking the same. Just to add one thing, it takes one to bring one, to quote somebody else, and that's maybe the truth in it, that we're all ambassadors of our roundtable clubs, local and national. And once you're doing your job in the area good enough, people get triggered by new thoughts and ideas, and then they will join your area chairman events or going to AGMs of half-year meetings. And I really think that those people with ambitions and want to make something about it, because there will be a boiling point that you are out of learning in your local club. That's the point where they will get triggered and want to learn more from other clubs and worldwide, of course. So yeah, it should be always on the agenda. Just add 2 new tables every year, then you're fine.
Perfect. Joost, thank you very much. And then thank you very much to all of the panelists who gave up some of their time to actually help us and everyone else following along on Facebook, live or recorded, on how to drive growth. So to everyone, you've seen that the quality of membership will always beat the quantity, and we must focus on generic growth. As Rahul has said, we must make growth a habit, and we must always keep on focusing on growth, even if now you are a very big and a strong table. Then, as Thomas has shared with us, we must take our new members by the hand. We can't just tell them what is Roundtable. We must actually go and show them what is Roundtable beyond the 4 walls of our club. And then, as Joost said as well, it takes a tabler to make a tabler, and it's actually the responsibility of each of us as current tablers to make sure that the growth we have now is in place, so that we've got a Roundtable in 10, 20, 50, or 100 years from now. To everyone following along live on Facebook, thank you very much. The RTI University is thus signing out from this session, and yeah, we will be back soon. Thank you very much. Goodbye.